Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Krista Escamilla Show. Happy insert whatever day it is for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. For us, it is Wednesday. So happy Wednesday to all of you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being here and watching the show, sharing the show, reviewing the show. We really appreciate it. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors before we introduce our awesome guest. But we want to thank, first of all, Rig ID Workwear, joincapclub.com, Midland Cap Company, and Tapestry Hotel Midland. Thank you so much for your support of our show. You keep the lights on, literally, so thank you. We appreciate it. Joining us now is Kevin Foreman, and he is the owner of Foreman Financial, longtime friend of our family, and a great guy. So we're just happy to have you here. Thank you so much.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Well, let's start from the beginning, Kevin, because I know you, of course, as dad to 3 amazing children, and of course, husband to the most amazing wife ever. Love Christine. She is just awesome. But I want everyone to hear your story and your background and what, how you came to do what you do. So Tell us, just go ahead and start from the beginning.
I grew up, I've pretty much, I had a couple years in Dallas, but other than that, I've spent my entire life within probably 110 miles of this right here. So I grew up in Hobbs, New Mexico.
Okay.
My parents are still there in the same house, so lived there. Left there, went to school at Odessa College, so I played tennis there. Played tennis in high school, and then I played tennis at Odessa. Odessa and Midland College both used to have tennis teams.
Okay.
And so I played for OC, did that for 2 years, and then decided to go ahead and give it up, and then went to Tech, and did that, and then graduated. And, and that's kind of where you start with, God intervening and doing what he does. I mean, I had a job lined up there in Lubbock after I graduated and thought I was going to move there, had my stuff in storage there, was ready to go, and they had to kind of post it. It was with the college, so they had to post it and do that. They went through that interview process, and my boss's boss gave the job to somebody else. So
wow.
I'm sitting in Hobbs, and
there goes my job. Where am I going next?
Yeah, I mean, the boss calls and she's crying, and you're like, that's not good. And, and so, then, sitting there with no resume, no plans, because I thought I had everything lined up.
Yeah.
And God said, no, we're going to try something different. And so
I love that, because that just speaks to everyone has a story similar where it's like you have a plan, this is where you're going, and then nope. God says different.
Yeah, and I had it very lined up and thought I knew what I was going to do. And so
what was that job?
It was an accounting job.
Okay.
So I got my business degree from Tech, and then ended up, I really wanted to do accounting, but I had part of that OC. You don't get your grades transferred when you transfer, and so I started at Tech. Taking my upper level courses and so struggled, there to get at accounting, and I went ahead and got my business degree from there.
Awesome.
And got out, and that was the plan, is I was going to stay there, work, and go back and get my accounting degree from Tech. Gotcha. and finish up there. And so ended up in just my old roommate from OC, matter of fact, was teaching tennis here in Midland, and just came over and spent the weekend with him and met the owner of the health club here, and he was like, well, you can come over here and work if you want to. And I was, so
okay.
A week later, I'm living in Henson's living room, and then went to work for them, and just to kind of get out of Hobbs and try to meet some people.
Yeah,
and
see what's out here, what opportunity. Right.
So I moved to Midland. I knew probably knew one person, so moved here, and then 30 days, 60 days later, or well, pretty soon after that, that's when I met Christine.
Oh, wow.
And that's where we met.
How'd y'all meet?
At the health club.
Okay.
So
I love it.
Yeah, she was working there.
Okay.
And so met her there, and we've been together ever since.
I love it.
And so anyway.
And then from there, then obviously at some point you transitioned into financial from the health club, right?
Correct. Yes. Well, so I ended up going back to UTPB and getting my accounting degree, and then got out and did accounting for quite a while, and then got my CPA. And then same thing, kind of a God thing. I was working for a guy named Alan McGuire here in town. He passed away a couple years ago, and was working for him and had a really good, kind of an easier tax season than when I worked for some larger firms. And so met with him after tax season, said, hey, this worked out great. I think this is what I want to do. I'll start bringing in some of my newer clients, newer friends and clients, and help you, I'll build that up. And then when you're ready to retire, I'll just, I can buy you out or do whatever. And he looked at me and said, no, that's not what I want to do. And I said, okay. So
okay, what do you want to do?
So once again, you're kind of sitting there going, okay, well, I had this all planned out, and now what am I going to do? So, made a call, and 30 days later I was working for Edward Jones. So went to work for them. Van Piercy was kind of my mentor there. He was the regional leader and my mentor there, and actually that's where I met Al.
Yeah, I'm saying this has got to be 24, 25, 26 years ago, right around there?
Yeah, long time. I was 30, and so anyway, so we moved over there and started with Edward Jones and did that.
Great.
And then I was there for about 3 years. That was '99, so that was the tech boom at the time when I started.
I remember, and correct me on the numbers, I am not a numbers girl,
okay.
Communication major, not numbers. But wasn't it a big deal when NASDAQ hit, was it 2,000 at the time?
I'd have to go back and look too. I think it was 10,000.
10,000. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew it was one. I just remember like around that time, 99, 2000, it hit this big number, and it was like, whoa, we've never thought we would see this number, and here we are now. I think we've, I don't know, double, tripled it. Again, not a numbers girl,
No.
but I just remember that when you said that, the NASDAQ, it was like boom, around that time.
Yeah, and so all that hit. It was also Y2K, if you remember all that.
Oh
and,
yes, do we remember Y2K?
And so Christine was pregnant at the time with our first child. She was born December 31st, '99.
Oh my goodness,
So,
you were literally in the hospital on Y2K.
Yes.
See, I was just in a newsroom waiting to see if the computers, because back then they said the computers were going to shut down.
Oh yeah, everything was going to
never
shut
turn
down.
on again, right?
Yeah, so,
and how scary to have on December 31st.
Yeah, we were kind of trying for the first. We were trying for the first baby of the year of 2000, and ended up having probably one of the last.
Right.
But I got the tax deduction, so that
Hey,
was,
there you go. There's the bonus.
Yeah, that was the big deal.
Only a CPA would know that.
Yeah, so we ended up with getting that tax deduction. So,
that's great.
So that's kind of where we started and did that, and that's how I got in the business, and then transitioned in 2002. Transitioned over to Raymond James, so I've been there 20 years now.
Wow.
And
I can't believe it's been 20 years already. I remember. I remember when you made the switch. Yeah.
So so it's been 20 years 20 years November.
Well,
so,
congratulations
thank you.
on an outstanding career in financials, because I know there are ups, there are downs, there are highs, there are lows, there are pandemics, there are oil crashes, the list could go on, right? Yeah. What have you done, and what is your, the way that you get through those ups and downs of the busts and the booms through the years? Because when it comes to money, it's such a personal thing, right? So what is your personal philosophy on it?
I would say, and again, the first time that happened was 2000, right after Y2K. I mean, the market was down 2000, 2001, 2002. You had, in the middle of that, had September 11th.
Yes.
Market was, and I remember, sitting at my desk September 11th, and at the time, good or bad, I didn't have that many clients. I mean, I hadn't been in the business. I'd only been in the business a year or two, and so I really didn't have that many clients, but also wondering whether that meant I wasn't going to be in the business.
Right. Will you have a job?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there were so many unknowns.
No, so many unknowns, and the market was closed for several days, and I remember I just, not embarrassed to say, I mean, I sat at my desk and cried. I mean, I was scared to death. I mean, I really, I thought I was done in that business, and so I didn't want to go back to accounting if I didn't have to.
Because you were enjoying what you were doing.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah. Sure. And but luckily we got through that, and again with the help of Christine and just the current clients I had, at the time, and you just stick with it. Yeah. So anyway, but I think then we turned around and we had another downturn in '08, and that was really the bad one. That was where I finally had some clients. We were finally going in the right direction and making some money for those clients, and then turned around and just gave a ton of that back. And but same thing. I think those have made me a better advisor. Obviously,
right.
Just to know that we've got to have some safety. People, you always have a plan until you don't. And
Yes.
So,
and that's when you realize, oh, I should have had a plan.
yeah.
Right.
Or you always think, well, I'm okay with taking this much risk until it happens. And
Yeah.
then, and we've kind of dealt with that, last year. Last year was the first really bad year we've had in a while. And that's when, so we're dealing with that, right now. I mean,
Right.
we're dealing with clients right now where, it was, hey, I didn't realize we had that much risk in the portfolio. Hey, I didn't realize, I don't want to do that again, or what can we do?
Right.
So, and again, all in all those periods, I mean, the people that really, get hurt the worst, it seems, are always the people that are getting ready to retire or just retired. And so, those are the ones that you've got to console, and we've got to, and make sure we've got a good plan.
Right. What do you do? Do you personalize each one? Because I know there's different types of investors,
Sure.
right? You have, and I kind of want to go through that later, a little bit later in the podcast. I'd love like your tips for a young
Sure.
investor.
Sure.
I guess we're middle aged.
Yeah.
Are we
Yes.
still middle aged? I don't even know. We're getting kind of
I
up
don't
there,
know.
Kevin.
Next week is 55.
Woo, that's a big one.
So
that's
is
a good
big
one. It's halfway to 110.
Yeah.
You and Al,
Yeah.
halfway to 110. It's a good year.
Yeah,
But so
if
I
you
guess
say so.
we'll say middle age. We're still middle age,
Okay.
and then you have your retiring. So
Sure.
we'll kind of go through some tips a little bit later. But I want to just talk a little bit about just what it means to you as their personal financial advisor to personalize it to each of your clients.
Sure. It's a big responsibility, and I think that's been, that's one of the things that you just don't take lightly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, it's people's, it's some people, it's all they've got. I mean, that's it. They don't have oil and gas investments. They don't have real estate. They come to me and they leave their jobs, and that's a scary time. I've got one client in particular right now that retired last year, and he calls once a month. I mean, it's he's still dealing with the nervousness of
Right.
one, not working, but also, hey, this is all I have and this is it.
It is scary.
And then to have a year like we had last year. So so it is a big responsibility.
Right.
But also, part of my job when we meet and when we're going through that, my initial process is, to talk about those things.
Right.
Hey, this could happen. This might happen, or better yet, it will happen. I
Right.
mean, it's going to happen. It's just, okay, does it happen? Maybe we didn't know it was going to happen today.
Yeah. What's your level of comfort? Is that something you discuss as
Yeah.
well? And
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. And and all of that is personalized as to what how much do we have how much do we have to work with. Is it what we call qualified and non-qualified? Is it taxable money, or is it retirement
Right.
IRA or 401k type money, and those types of things. So you have to look at all that mix and try to put a plan together.
Okay, sounds good. I want to know what you love the most about your job.
Really, it's just the people. It's just, that's kind of what led me out of accounting. I mean, obviously, I said that I was kind of forced out in a way, but the hard part of accounting is you have to, when you're doing taxes, and actually being a CPA like that is, you've got to bill your hours, and you've got to sit still, and you got to crank it out and do that.
Yeah.
And that's just not me. I mean,
You're a
me,
people person.
I'm a people person, and a little ADD maybe, and so I have a hard time sitting still, and so that's where this is a good job for me, because I can be out meeting people. I don't feel guilty. If I spend half a day, and I may drive around Midland and just go see either existing clients or people that I, friends that I want to talk to. You don't feel guilty about doing that versus when you're billing hours.
And we love our CPAs, but it's hard to,
Sure.
if that's not your personality type, it's hard for you to stay in the office all
And
day,
there's, it's no different than, engineers. There's certain engineers that love to sit there and crank it out, and there's other ones that, move on to management or do other things. So we all have to you just got to find your niche, and you got to find what you're good at. And I feel like that's what I'm good at. But, the part I love is helping people, and I would say, not a huge part of my business, but a good part of my business has been through referrals, has been divorced and widowed women. And so that's become, again, a good portion of my business, and I really enjoy that part of it because, that they may not have ever looked at the finances or ever looked at their investments or
Right.
any of those things, and so. That's that's where you really feel like you're helping somebody.
Right.
You're really doing good work.
You're helping them through a tough, difficult
Oh,
time,
sure.
and it's a scary time. And I know there's so many women out there that are good with money and
sure.
that love money. And like we just had Melissa Wicker on here a couple weeks ago, and she could really talk money. And I'm like, I am not that girl.
Sure.
I am
Yeah.
like I don't know. That's just seems so scary.
Well,
and so I could see where you could really help people through those tough times and just kind of navigate the waters because
Sure.
they don't know.
No,
Yeah.
they don't, and I think it's hard. What you have to have is a level of trust there. And what I always tell them is if you've been referred to me, you've got to trust the person that referred you to me, and then we meet, and obviously we get a comfort level before we do anything, but you're not going to understand all this at first.
Right.
But you also can't let it sit there till you understand it. If we do that, we won't get anything done.
Good
So
point.
you kind of
Yeah.
have to, you've got to have a level of trust or a level of letting go and let me do what I do, but part of my job is to teach you. I
Right.
mean, that's what I want you to understand what we're doing. But
You're just not taking their money and doing whatever you want with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't, again, you can't wait till it's just like anything else. If I was doing something out of my realm, if I have to wait till I completely understand it, I won't ever get it done.
Right.
So
That's true.
So you have to move on.
Yeah. Okay, we do something called Quote of the Day. I'm a big quote girl, Kevin.
I thought we'd skip that part.
I love quotes so much. Look, your beautiful wife gave me this book full of quotes right
Okay,
here
good. Well-
called Bravely. Love that book. Okay, so you're going to pick one out.
Okay.
All right. If you can read my writing, great. If not, hand it over and I'll try.
Focused.
You got the focus card. Okay. Let's
Okay.
see what you got.
Once you make the decision, you'll find all the people, resources, ideas you need every time.
Oh, that's a good quote.
So I watched
Bob Proctor.
I watched one of yours with that. Let me
The same exact.
Yeah, with the
that's
same
funny.
one. I wish I remember who it was and what they said.
But what does that mean to you? We can go back and listen to what it meant to that guy.
Yeah, exactly who it was. I think it is. I think that's the hard thing is to, and I would say that probably is a weakness of mine is to really make a decision and go. I mean, and say, okay, because I'm more of a let's think about it, let's talk about it, let's write it down, let's do all this, and but I do.
And
think,
Christine says go.
Yeah, and Krista says go, and but I do think that. You just have to trust that, that you know what you're doing, and you're gonna make the right decisions, and then it'll all fall into place.
Yeah.
And
And the right people do get placed in front of you. I mean,
Yes.
that is so true because so many times, you look back and you think, why did I meet, that person or whatever?
Right.
And then 5 years later, or it could be 5 minutes later. Like,
Yeah.
I literally met my PT person the night before I hurt my leg before my surgery.
Wow.
Like, literally the night before I met her.
Yeah.
Had dinner with her and was like, oh, she's such a great person.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop by your business and see you sometime, right? Didn't realize I was going to stop by as a
Like,
client
yeah,
after
the
having
next day.
surgery. So, people get placed in your life for right reasons, and
sure.
it's just all part of the plan.
And it is. I mean, I think that's that's what kind of going back and you start thinking about like I said the time I met time I moved to Midland, I met Christine, and then the time I thought I had kind of my career planned out, and that happened, and then I mean there's just all kinds of things like that happen, and you have to got to make a decision, and you kind of have to jump out there and make a decision, go for it,
Yeah.
and then hope that the people do show up.
Yes, and they will. They will. The people, they will go.
According to Bob Proctor, they will.
Bob Proctor and also Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yes.
So they will come. Let's give some advice. So
Okay.
I want to pick your brain a little bit. We're going to talk shop for a few minutes because this is something I'm so naive to, and so these are just questions I have at the top of my head. So if I'm a say I'm in my 20s, 20 to 30-year-old, I'm just getting started. Say like our oldest children. So
Sure.
right, our oldest are both the same age. They just graduated college. They're getting in the workforce. What advice would you give to them that will help them long-term money-wise when it's so hard because you're just trying to make ends meet, get off your parents' insurance, get off your parents' phone bill, get off, So what advice would you give?
Number one is debt. I mean, and I can say this from a personal standpoint, and I can say it from, from what I've seen is just don't go into debt. And I mean, again, good debt. I mean, there's good debt and bad debt. And
what's the good debt?
Well,
house.
Me and Dave Ramsey, go back and forth on that. I would say, and again, it depends. It depends on the situation. But house debt is good debt.
Okay.
Car debt. We can go back and forth on that. I mean, my brother-in-law's in the car business, and that's that's not an appreciating asset; it's a depreciating asset. Mm-hmm. So, but I would say, those two, I'm probably as a planner, I'm probably okay with that. But then from there, that's where you just need to live within your means. I mean, and that's and I would tell you that today versus 10, 15 years ago. The number of young people that come into my office and they've changed jobs and they've got $30,000-$40,000 to roll over out of their 401k. Used to they would the first thing they'd do go, okay, and I need to pull $10,000 or $15,000 of that out
to live
to pay off debt.
Yeah.
And to do that, well, you got to pay the taxes, the penalties. Mm-hmm. That's not a great place to do that. And so obviously, we try to avoid that, but if you could avoid the debt in the first place, then you avoid that. So
Gotcha.
Debt is number one, for sure. I mean, just that's what sets you back. Personally, I would say, that's what set me back from saving 5-10 years. Student debt, and student loan debt, things like that.
Right.
All of those things are, it just keeps you from starting because, I've never had anybody come in my office and go, well, I'm glad I waited till today.
Right.
I'm glad I waited till today to save. No.
They always, I bet, say, I wish I would have started this and come seeing you 10, 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I just think the sooner you can start saving, the better, whether it's through your work plan, and that's the easiest, and you get the match. If you're working for a bigger company and they've got a 401k and they've got a match, that's your number one, you got to do that. That's free money.
Right.
I mean, so that's a better investment than in the market or anywhere else. You've doubled your money. Okay.
Yeah.
If you put in 5% and your company puts in 5%, you've doubled your money. That's the best investment you can make.
Okay.
So, you start there, and then, I have a chart that I show everybody, and I just wish there was a better way to visualize that, but I call it the left side and the right side. So that would be your right side. That's over here with your, retirement plans, Roths, those types of things there, where people really miss. And I mean, this is every day I have this conversation with people, and they're like, I had a conversation with a guy on the phone yesterday, and he was like, I hadn't thought about that. Okay. But that would be the
left. So write this down, everyone.
So,
this is big.
So this is the left side.
Okay.
So what I call the left side. So left side is going to be just regular investments. I mean, in an investment account. So in other words, we set up a link with your bank where you say, hey, I can do $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever that
Automatic
is.
draft out?
$1,000. That's the best way.
Okay.
Because it's just like your 401k. It comes out, you don't see it, and you pay yourself first. That's everybody's going to say that. You need to pay yourself first. But that side, that's what I call, especially for younger people, that's your get-to money. That keeps you out of debt, okay?
Gotcha.
So you're going to do that. You're going to save $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over there, and then that way, when the car breaks down, or you need a new washer, or you want to go on a trip, or you want to go do things,
because those things are going to happen.
Those things are going to happen, and you should have fun, but save and then have fun instead of have fun and then try
save
to pay
and
it
then try
off.
to make it.
Try to pay it off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that left side is important, and that's just something. And again, if you've got money, today, the advice for anybody would be, if you've got money sitting in the bank, doing nothing. I mean, right now, for the first time in 20 years or almost 20 years, CDs are actually paying a decent rate. Treasuries are paying a decent rate, so you can make 4 or 5% on that money. Don't have money sitting idle. I mean, yes, if it's your monthly money and it fluctuates, but if you've got an extra $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 sitting in the bank, I mean, I run into clients that, and they go, oh yeah, we've got $100,000 sitting there, but that's our emergency money. And I'm like, well, when's the last time that dipped below that?
Right.
Well, never. That's,
Right.
but okay, well,
So
that's
you're
fine.
saying put that money to work.
Yeah, do something with
Okay.
it. I mean, even if it's not, not necessarily with me, but, go to your banker.
But with him would be great.
With me, it'd be great. But, I'll hold up my card. But, but I mean, no, but go to or at least go to your banker and go,
Right.
hey, what can we make in a CD? And again, two years ago, you couldn't have done that. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't have that option. CDs were paying 1/4%, 0.5%. But today, take advantage of that.
Right.
So, anyway, you just have to, what I tell people, and it sounds silly, but I mean, you just want to squeeze every penny you can out of it. I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
And so, but that's a hard thing. What I always
It is a hard
amazed.
thing, yeah.
I'm just always amazed that people don't think. And again, once you build that up, then actually we can go in there and invest it. I mean, you say, okay, now I get the 10 or 20 in a CD. Now let's take $500 a month and let's invest it. The best way to invest is monthly or daily. I mean, however often you can do that and catch the ups and downs in the market. So the best way.
Buy low, sell high, right?
Exactly. And
Hey.
but if you're buying every month, you're going to catch a low. You're going to, and then you're going to buy less when it's high. You're going to buy more when it's low. I mean, it sounds very simple, but a lot of people just don't. They think about it. Well, I'm going to save over here. I'm saving everything over here in my company plan, and that's easy because it comes out of your paycheck and you don't see it.
Yeah.
And so this side's hard, but and that's what I tell people. If you don't have that, well then. And this is really hard, and it's just a hard concept for people, but if you're putting 10% in your 401k and they're only paying you 5, they're only matching 5, and you don't have anything over here, let's take that 5 and let's go save it over here, okay? And let's do that. Now, the hard part is I said, but you've got to do it.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing for me
Yeah.
to tell you to do that. It's another thing for you to go, okay, I'm going to quit saving that 5% over here, and then,
Right.
6 months later you haven't done anything.
Right. And it's still just making its little.
Yeah, it's
Whatever,
sitting there doing
over
nothing,
here.
or you started spending it again.
Oh, yeah.
You got used to
Right.
spending it. So I mean, so you got to. So again, and I think that's where that's where you need an advisor. I mean, you need somebody to hold you accountable. You need somebody to be there as your guide and to think of things like this. That you're just not. If you don't do it every day, you don't think about that.
Right.
And a lot of people don't think, well, I don't have enough to have an advisor, or I don't have enough to do that, or I don't want to pay an advisor. Well, I mean, you get what you pay for. I mean,
Right.
you really do. And
Right.
and I've had clients tell me that. Why do I need you? I just don't feel like I need you. We may not need me today, but you're going to need me someday.
Right.
I mean, you're going to need somebody, whether it's me.
Right,
You're going to need
right.
somebody. And so.
And I
just
think
don't-
that's important because there's some things in life you need to leave to the professionals, right?
Sure.
I'm not going to cut and color my hair. I'm going to have Yvonne Shepherd do it because she's the best. And all of you that do hair are amazing.
yeah.
I know I'm not good at it, right?
Sure.
So
Or-
I'm gonna have her do it. There are certain things that we all have our gifts and share, and we should let the professionals do it.
Taxes,
now, put my own gas in the car. Yeah, I can do that. But my own money. No, I mean there's things that you should leave to the professionals.
Exactly.
And this is definitely one of them.
Sure.
Interest rates. What do interest rates play in financial advising?
So.
Because I hear a lot about interest rates.
Sure, and I think you're hearing that now because that's what's kind of causing the angst in the market is that the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. They're trying to slow the economy down. They feel like inflation's too high, the economy's running too hot, so they're trying to slow that down. And everybody has their opinion in our world of that they waited too late, or they're going too fast, or they're doing this and that.
Right.
But that's what they're talking about. So again, they're raising interest rates. So again, a year ago, 2 years ago, CDs were paying 1/4%, 0.5%, 1%. Now they're paying 4 or 5. So that's good for those type of investors. That's bad for our stock investors. It's bad for your 401k.
Oh, okay.
So we had a down year last year. But no, interest rates play a huge part of that. In that, what can we earn? What's your risk-free rate? I mean, that's what we're kind of looking for is, okay, what's our risk-free rate? And then how does that affect, everything else? But it affects, and then on the flip side, if you have debt, it affects your debt. I mean, if all of a sudden, if you bought a house, well, matter of fact, a year ago, if you bought a house a year ago, I dealt with clients, and when I know our mortgages were running 3.5, somewhere in that range. Now you're looking at 6.5. You're double. I mean, so all of a sudden you're paying double the amount of interest that you were paying last year for the same house.
Right.
So,
Which, if you look back 20, 4 years ago,
Sure.
that's where we were at then.
We were there.
It's just we got spoiled with the lower interest rates,
Yes.
right, through COVID and through that time.
Yeah, and through most of the 2000s. I
Yeah.
mean, really, I mean, when I first got in the business in 99 and 2000, that was something I was trying to sell, was just money market. I was going to businesses and saying, hey, we're paying 5% to have your money just sit there. And so, but you haven't had that since then.
Yeah.
I mean, so yes, we've gotten very spoiled over low interest rates, and obviously they're too high now. They were probably too low for too long.
Right.
But it plays a big part.
Okay, so we covered the 20s. We covered our firstborns, that age,
Sure.
what they need to be doing right now. So hopefully they listen, Gentry and Austin.
Yes.
So now we're going to fast forward to, what about someone? Let's just say our age or 40s. Gosh, to be young.
Sure.
40 to be 40 and
40.
start investing. I know, right? So say you're in your 40s and you're thinking, I haven't saved a penny. I've been raising kids.
Sure.
I've been trying to make ends meet. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I have a 401k, but it's not great, right? What do I do? I come to you, Kevin. What do you say?
That's where you just have to figure it out. I mean, you just have to go through and say, okay, I've got to start. I've got to start somewhere, and hopefully, you're working for a company, and again, then we'd have that option of saying, okay, I'm putting extra into my 401k, so there's a place I can go find some money to start saving.
Mm-hmm.
But
What if you don't have a 401k?
if you don't have a 401k, then we need to talk about all of it.
Okay.
But I would say, yeah, if you're in that situation, then you just have to kind of go through and just figure it out. And again, it sounds silly. I would say for somebody like that, what you've got to do is you've got to go find a place to put that money that you can't get to it. And I mean, and not get to it, but
I know what you mean. Because if it's there, it's there. You can get to it.
And
yeah.
today, you get online. If you're at Bank A and your savings is over here, you just click and it just goes somewhere. It's really not. So even if you just went and opened another bank account somewhere else, or a savings account somewhere else, or an investment account with somebody, just to have it to where it's just not like where you can just walk in and get to it.
You're not looking at it every day on your app, going, I can buy that TV. Oh yeah, I can buy that car.
Sure.
Oh yeah, we can go on that trip.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say, you just have to go through and look at your budget and find a place, find something that you may be spending money on that you can do without, for a while, and get started. And I do think
advice.
it's not, maybe not addictive is the right word, but I mean it is, if you can start and you start to see it build, and let it sit there, then it is, it is infectious in that you're doing something good. You're
Right.
doing, it's like losing weight or working out.
Yeah,
or
it feels
anything,
good, right? When you see the
feels-
results, it feels good.
Yes, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
but that I would say that situation's hard. And again, but I would still say somebody like that. I have people come in. I had a young lady come in last year that there really wasn't much I could do for her. She had a ton of student debt. Was taken. Was everything she was making extra was going towards that. So not a lot I can do to help, but she came in and met with me,
Which was great because that's the first step.
Yeah, and I mean, so I would just tell people, don't be afraid to ask your friends who they use for their advisor. Find somebody that you can go talk to, and if nothing else, they make you. I have lots of that happens all the time. I have people come in and either we don't click, or it just doesn't. I'm talking about blue and they're seeing red or whatever.
Right.
And so it doesn't. But also there's times where I come in and I go, go do this and then come back and let me help you later.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
All right, so we've talked about 20s. We've now covered the 40s, 50s. How about you're at the age of retirement?
Sure.
And maybe you have a little nest egg, not a whole lot, but you have a little nest egg, but you're worried about that money lasting the rest of your life.
Sure.
Is that a common concern? I'm just these are just popping in my head, Kevin. So hopefully it's a good question.
I would say hopefully not. I mean, hopefully by then they've saved or they've done something, and they've got some money, and I think going back to the 40s, I think more of the situation, that I probably run into is that they've worked and they've got an old 401k that's sitting over here, and they may have another old 401k that's sitting over there, and and they're not managing either one of those. They're just sitting there.
Gotcha.
So that's the main thing is, a lot of what I do is organization. I mean, or consolidation. it's get it all in one place. I would say somebody in their 60s, if they're, thinking about retiring, or if they, but again, and I would say, this is a big deal for teachers and people that work at the city, TRS type employees, people like that. What I would really recommend, where I really see people make a mistake, is they don't come talk to me until after they've made some of those decisions. Because like with TRS, especially with teachers, once you sign on the dotted line that this is what I'm going to do with my retirement, you're done.
Okay.
And there's some very important decisions you can make. So, so again, just don't. I would just tell people. I know, that sounds very self-serving, but I don't charge for consultations. I don't know any advisors that do. So, it doesn't cost you a penny to come in and talk. If you don't like it, or if you think, what I'm going to charge is charging too much, or, whatever, then either go somewhere else or do it on your own. But don't be afraid to go seek some advice.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good to know, too, that there's no consultation fee.
No.
Yeah, you just walk in. All right, I'm sitting here today with Kevin Foreman. He's the owner of Foreman Financial, giving us great advice. I feel like I've just got, financial 101. It's been awesome. We do another thing called Question of the Day, Kevin. So we're just going to have you pick out a question, randomly answer it. All right, what'd you get?
Trusting.
The trusting card. Then that's you want to trust your financial advisor. Yes. That's a perfect card for you.
That's true. If there's a change you've made in your life that you wish you made sooner.
Ooh, good question.
So, I think just off the top of my head, I heard this on one of your podcasts too, and there was one of those things where I go, I don't know the answer to that. But after having this conversation, I think, debt is probably that's really top of mind there. I just think that debt is the devil. In that sense that it, if it's the bad kind of debt, and especially now, with interest rates, we're talking about, it goes back to interest rates. Interest rates are high, so you may have had a credit card that was only charging you 2, 3, 4, 5%. Now we're charging 10, 12, 15%. Just try to avoid that, and the best way to avoid it is just don't do it.
Right.
Because it just, debt sometimes leads to debt. You really. You can get yourself backed into a corner where, because what happens is you go have fun, or I remember in our case, we bought a new house and you go, well, let's, we do need a new couch, we do need tile, we do need this. And you do those things, and you look up, and you way overspent, than what you had.
Right. Which you're not alone, by the way.
No.
I
see it. I see it quite a bit. Yeah. But then, what happens is then that keeps you from working on that left side. It keeps you from saving money, so that now all of a sudden, we didn't buy a new oven, but all of a sudden the oven went out.
Yeah.
I need it.
I need a picture of this chart you have, the left side, right side.
I'll get that.
Can you send us a picture of that? Because I'm visual, and I'm like, okay,
I know.
I got to see what's over on that left, and I'm going to focus on the left,
I used
not
to have
the right.
a big. Now we do it all I do it all on a big TV there at my desk. But I used to have a big whiteboard, and so I got up, and because you can see now I'm fiddling, I'm hitting this microphone. I have trouble sitting still.
I understand. I'm a hand talker myself.
But
I'm like, woo.
But I used to, get up and draw all this on the whiteboard, and clients would always go. But the good thing is now, because back then I would erase it, and they would go, now you had something over there, up there in the corner, you'd written this, and so now we can, show that. But
technology, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
All right, I've got some fun questions for you. First of all, the first one that I thought of, what would I find that is not on your bio? So I'm looking on your bio, and it's not on there. Tell me a fun fact about Kevin Foreman.
Oh. I really am not a lot of fun. I don't know.
Stop it.
Fun
fact. There's got to be a fun fact out there that is not on your bio, that doesn't say CPA, owner, dad.
Golfer.
Amateur golfer?
Well, very amateur.
Hey, you could be pro. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
So
you know.
Amateur golfer?
Al knows. No, I would. I don't know. I'd have to ask Christine that one.
Okay.
You threw it. See,
I know.
If you saw the notes I had in here, I was so prepared, and I knew.
That's why I don't tell you the questions ahead of time.
Ask me one.
I want
thing I don't know.
spontaneity, Kevin.
I don't. I would say. I really can't think of it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now we'll have to ask Christine. When she gets in this chair, I'm going to ask her a fun fact about you.
About me.
And she's going to tell us. Okay.
Yeah, now, if you want a fun fact about her.
Yes, go ahead.
No,
You're like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going there.
I like to be on her good side. All right. I want to know, we're going to play the favorite things. So favorite book.
Okay. I'd say books. A long time ago, a lot of Larry McMurtry.
Okay.
Lonesome Dove, The Last Picture Show, Texasville.
Okay.
Those are still. I think. I haven't gone back and read any of those lately, but I would say those are still pretty. Classic. And then more recently, I listen to most of my books. Just traveling with the kids, volleyball and tennis and swimming and traveling. So I listen to most of those, and really good to listen to is a lot of the Bill O'Reilly books.
Okay.
The Killing Lincoln, Killing Kennedy, Reagan.
My dad loved those books. He
And
used to
then
talk about them all the time.
There's a lot more than you think, but man, there's some really interesting facts about all those people that you never knew.
Yeah.
And he does a lot. He does really good research.
Kind of brings that person to life for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I want to listen to those.
I gotta
That's
give
so
you
great.
one more.
Yes, please.
And this is totally off the wall. This is a beach book. This is summer's coming up. There's a book called I was.
No, go ahead, pull it up.
Look,
That's
Living with a Seal.
Living with the Seal. Okay.
It's Jesse Itzler, and
Okay.
I think he was a rapper. He's actually married to the
Really?
lady that invented Spanx.
Oh, I love her.
So
Yes.
both of them.
Sarah,
so
I believe is her name.
So he hired
Yeah.
David Goggin, who's now become. Because of that, he's written several of his own books, kind of self-help books.
Okay.
I don't read self-help books, but this one is hilarious. If you want,
Really?
if you just need a good, you don't always have to read serious books.
No, not
So,
at all.
but this one, he hires him as a trainer, and he basically says, "I'll train you, but you're going to do everything I say, and for 30 days." And it's pretty crazy. The
Ooh,
stuff he does.
awesome.
So anyway, if you
Okay.
something fun.
I love that. Okay, we're going to check that one out. Favorite restaurant in West Texas?
I'd say Cancun. We're probably at Cancun once a week.
Check it out if you've never been. They have
yeah,
really good enchiladas.
really good enchiladas. And then, just the staples. I still, go to Wall Street, Murray's, all of those things that have been around forever.
Yeah, those are good. Can't go
So,
wrong there.
nope.
All right, favorite golf course? And it could be one you've played or you haven't played.
Favorite, all-time favorite is going to be Kings Barnes in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
So right outside of St. Andrews. And then while we were over there one year, we got to play the old course as well,
Nice.
which was great. We played it right after they'd played the Open.
I can picture it now. It was a nice overcast day.
Yeah, all the
There's
stands,
yeah.
the stands were still up, so it was really
that's
cool.
cool. That is cool.
So, but Kings Barnes, if you haven't ever done that, it's designed by an American, but it's there on the coast. It's kind of like a Pebble Beach. It's right on the ocean, or right on the. They don't call it the ocean. It's the.
They don't? What do they call it?
They call it the. And I just went blank.
What do they call it if they don't call it the ocean? We're going to have to
No,
Google
it's
this.
called the-
Al, can you Google it?
Al should know
What do they
that.
call the ocean in Scotland?
They don't call it. It's not. You get in big trouble.
Big trouble, really?
Yeah, it's the.
The bay? The water?
Somebody's sitting there going,
The pond. Did they call it the pond?
No.
Oh, okay. I just made that up. Sorry to my Scottish friends
Oh, I'll think
listening.
of it. But yeah, but no, Kings Barnes is definitely my favorite in the world. And then but yeah,
All right. I know your son plays tennis. You were a tennis player. Favorite major in tennis?
in tennis, Wimbledon.
Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No.
No?
No,
Want to go?
I'm hoping he wants to go for his senior trip, maybe.
Yeah,
But,
you're going to plant that seed?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go to Wimbledon.
Yeah, he knows that, and I'd say the U.S. Open too.
Mm-hmm.
New York. I've always wanted to do that as well. So either one of those would be great.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would actually, that'd be pretty great. What is it called? The Lock?
The Lock.
The Lock? Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
No.
The Lock?
I mean,
I've heard the Loch
it is
Ness
the Lock,
Monster.
but it's the sea.
The Sea.
The sea.
They call it the Sea? I don't know.
I can.
Right now, all of our Scottish
Kidwell-
friends are throwing things at the.
Kidwell is sitting there going,
He's throwing stones at the TV right now. Going,
I'm not going to tell him
"No."
about this, so he's probably going to watch it. But if he does, he's cussing me right now.
Favorite? Let me see. Let's give one more. Favorite movie?
It's kind of become this tradition. Christmas Family Vacation.
Oh, it's a good one.
I mean, Christmas, the Christmas one.
Chevy
Chase.
Chase.
Yeah, Chevy Chase. We
All
probably
the
watch
lights.
that 10 or 15 times during Christmas every year. And then, more of a Braveheart, I think,
okay.
something like that.
Good
I always
one.
think about that.
Yeah. Good movies, good favorite things. All right, this has been fun getting to know you better,
Yes.
Kevin, and having you share. You've given us some great tips today. I really appreciated your time. Is there anything that you thought, okay, I'm going to go sit and do Krista's podcast, but I didn't get to talk about it that I really want to share today that maybe we haven't?
No, I mean, I just think that, just growing up in West Texas. I mean, been here all my life. I love Midland. I would just say that, just glad to be a Midlander, glad to be here, proud of Midland. I do think that, right now you've got so many good companies and local companies and people that invest in Midland. Lori, on your podcast the other day, talked about that Midland is an investment, and I think that that's something that I would that I feel passionate about. That I feel like as citizens, as taxpayers, that we need to invest in Midland. You need, and from my standpoint, it's an investment, not an expense. And so I would just encourage. I love Midland, but I think we all need to step back and think about that.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of foundations, a lot of big companies that are investing in Midland, and as taxpayers, as citizens, we need to do the same.
Speaking of all the foundations, do you have a favorite nonprofit? And I just want to shout out your wife again, because Christine is, I call her the education's cheerleader, because
sure.
she cheers louder for education than anyone. And we have so many amazing nonprofits in our community. Is there one that you would like us to make a donation on behalf? We always do this at the end of the show.
Sure. And did you know there's over 900, there's between 900 and 1,000 not-for-profits in Midland.
Wow,
So
that's a
if
lot.
you'll just
I
make
had
a-
it in the
if
hundreds,
you just make
didn't
$1
realize.
for all those, if you don't mind. Just give those.
Yeah,
give
sure.
one-
Let me talk to Al about
give one
that.
to everyone. No, I mean, one that, I it's obviously number one on my list. I've been on the board of Keep Midland Beautiful since 1996.
Oh, it's a good one. Yes.
So 26 years this year, I think. So lots of good leaders have been on that. Charlotte Hotchkiss, for one, is kind of a mentor and kind of somebody that Christine and I both look up to a lot. But no, they we work closely with the city on litter prevention, beautification, cleanups, all of those things. But I've been involved with that forever. I mean, and so, yeah.
It's a good one. And I love when they do a cleanup day, but remember, every day can be a cleanup day. If you're walking
Yes.
by and you see an open field and there's one of those plastic bags waving, you
Yep.
can grab it and throw it in the
Throw it
trash.
trash,
Yes.
yes.
Because, if we all do it a little bit, like you were saying, if you can give a little, if everyone can just do a little bit, we can beautify Midland. and it is a beautiful place. We have the best sunsets in the world. The world, even if you're in Spain listening, or I'm trying to think of where there's beautiful sunsets. Greece, for our listeners in Greece.
Yes.
Come see our sunsets. They truly are the best.
Yeah.
We just need to get rid of, pick up the trash and do your part, and it can get more beautiful every day. So I love that. Okay, I think that's it. We're coming to the end, except for Al Googled it. Did you find out?
So I asked McKinley, he's my Google.
Okay.
He says North Sea off North and East Coast, Irish Sea between Scotland, Ireland, Atlantic, Northwest Coast.
So there you go. North
so
Sea.
the sea.
The sea.
It's the
Irish
sea.
sea, but don't call it
Don't call
the
it the
ocean.
ocean, no.
See, you learn something new every day. That is great. See, all this time I thought it was called the pond.
Thanks, McKinley.
Thank you, McKinley.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's our Scottish resource.
Yes, obviously.
and I love that you had a Scottish resource to go to, because we were sitting
I
here
just love that we
racking
have,
our brains.
I love that we have Google.
I know,
mean,
isn't it the
I mean,
best? I use Google daily. To the point where my name here's a fun fact, Kevin. I am Dr. Krista, no MD, in our house. Yeah, because I have no MD,
No
MD, but I can Google it.
I can Google it.
before I'm Dr. Krista. Well, thank you so much. Oh, I had one more question, just because parenting is something that we've shared together through the years. Do you have your best parenting advice for the young people out there? What would you give, being now the parent of one
Three.
graduate, one in college, and one in high school?
Yes. Christine's always known as the sleep Nazi. So I would, sleep is always important.
Sleep
when they're
is
when they're
good.
little.
It's important.
Is sleep and plug your phone in. That's not in your room. So,
Two good ones. I mean, so simple. Sleep and plug your phone in.
Yeah.
We're going to do that tonight with ours that's still at home, right? We're going to tell him he needs it.
yeah.
We do tell him he needs to sleep.
We're the point where he texts us.
Yeah, we are at the point where we're like, we're old, we're going to bed.
It's always
turn
first
the
thing
lights out soon.
Christine looks for in the morning is his phone better be plugged in the kitchen. So if it wasn't there, he must have gotten up early or he's in trouble.
Wow,
So,
that's good. Oh, she's so good. So good
Yeah.
parenting advice. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin Foreman with Foreman Financial. It has been such a pleasure to have you on and to learn more about you and get to share this time with you. If
bet.
people want to reach out to you, how can they find you? And are you on social media?
yeah, I'm on social. I'm not. With our business, I'm not on Facebook. Not not officially on Instagram or any of those, but just Kevin Foreman Financial.
And if you pass Midland High,
Google.
look to your left.
Just Google.
You're right there, correct?
Yeah, right there across from Midland High in the White House.
In the White House. Can't beat them. Go in, free consultation. You can't beat it. It's better to start now than to wait and say, I wish I would have started 10, 15 years ago. So, Kevin, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and appreciate all the great knowledge you shared with us today. So thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you to our listeners. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Rig ID, Midland Cap Company, joincapclub.com, and Tapestry Hotel Midland. Support those local businesses as best you can. And of course, we appreciate you sharing our podcast with others. We want everyone to just see all the fantastic people of West Texas, because we are doing good things here. We're all in this together, and we want to support each other and learn from each other, and that's what we're all about. And don't forget my mottos right here. You can't miss it. It's been up the whole show. Dream big, believe, and never give up. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin. Thanks again.
Thank you.
See you next time. You make it a great day.